So I showed some of my videos to someone I know, and he said, well, I don't mind some of the jokes, but your delivery could be better, your editing could be better. You could like cut out the obnoxious pauses that I've made in my previous videos that kind of go something like this one. So yeah. And in response to that, I would like to say I've taken your feedback on board, and you're not the boss of me. You don't get to tell me what to do. I can make whatever tedious videos I want, and no one will care, and I'll secretly enjoy it. I'll be beating the system. Everyone's trying to make YouTube videos with lots of views and get monetized, and I'll be laughing when I have 10 views on a video I've made in 3 years. I'll be the one who's laughing. I won't be crying. I'll be laughing. If I'm crying, it'll be tears of joy and laughter. Okay, you just need to accept this, right? You just need to accept this. But anyway, well, I should probably get on to the actual point of the video now. So I'm not like those other YouTubers, right? There's this popular YouTube trend at the moment, and it's the YouTube apology content. And basically, for those who are unaware, maybe you've living under a rock. You probably should continue to live under that rock, to be honest. It's probably a lot more enjoyable than the real world. But anyway, I digress. So if you don't know, YouTuber apology content is that a YouTuber will be found out for something bad that they've done. Maybe it's immediately evident that they've done something bad. Maybe they've committed a crime. Maybe it's some other thing. Sometimes it will be that some other YouTuber makes a video of them that recontextualizes their behavior. Yes, I can say big words. Recontextualizes their behavior, and it becomes clear to the community as a whole, or at least enough people to be mad that the YouTube's done a no-no and done a bad thing, right? Now, the problem is with this, that if you're a YouTuber on the receiving end of this sort of criticism, you've already done the thing, right? So obviously, at some point, you either felt that doing the thing was the right thing to do, or you didn't care that it was the worst thing to do, or the bad thing to do, or whatever. So the incentives are not good for being sincere. What you're probably thinking more about is trying to protect your brand, protect your image, protect your business if you're reliant on social media for money and stuff, which, obviously a lot of content creators end up being. So the incentive is to just make a very bad apology, and it will be either a over-edited, planned, very corporate sounding apology, because the YouTuber might have actually phoned up one of those crisis communication, maybe they emailed, right? We don't care about the method of contact here. They will have contacted one of these crisis communication companies, and they will ask them to produce, for advice on how to produce this script on how to apologize, right? So they'll just have this stock corporate side, because it's the exact same company that would support a corporation in their communications and would publish an apology press release for something bad a corporation has done, which I don't think ever happens. But if it did happen, that's what corporations would do, right? Corporations obviously being the fair guardians of our society, and they never do any wrong. But, if they did do wrong, then that's how they'd sort it out. But yeah, based on this, there is a genre of tropes. You know what a trope writer is, right? It's that narrative device thing. And there is a website called TV Tropes, which I like a lot. And TV Tropes has a trope for YouTube apology parody. So there's an entire section of the website that is dedicated to not like the apologies themselves, but people parodying the apologies, right? So this is a well-worn topic. You see why I'm choosing this topic, right? Engagement, right? But yeah, this is much more hyperactive than my previous videos, and I'm scared. But anyway, I'm not like those other YouTubers, because those other YouTubers would fake apologize about something that they've done. So I thought I would generate my new version of the format, not the parody format, but like the genuine apology video thing, right? So I am going to be actually apologetic about something real. So before I explain the context of my sin, I want to tell you a story from my youth. It's okay, oversharing is cool now. We've gone past the phase of like the stiff upper lip. We've moved past that as a society. We are now totally into oversharing. All feelings, thoughts, ideas on the internet, on social media, all the time are fair game. Oversharing is cool now. I'm sticking with it. Let's go, right? You see, I was gonna swear, but then I decided no, the YouTube algorithm doesn't want me to do that, so I'm not going to swear. Anyway, so year 10, I was a child, and as a child, I was not sent to a foreign trip. And I was left at the school for International Week. And believe it or not, just in case anyone wonders, I'm not particularly mad at my parents about this. So, you know, if my remaining parents are watching, that sounds bad, doesn't it? It's going to stay in the video. This is supposed to be a comedy channel, right? So if my remaining parent is watching, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But anyway, so I was at International Week, and one of the themes was global warming. Now, at the time, I was pretty skeptical of global warming as like a man-made thing. And the reason I was because there was a Channel 4 documentary called The Great Global Warming Swindle. And it basically had a bunch of misleading arguments and misleading charts for why man-made climate change was not a thing. The climate cycles, it's all fine, guys. We can put fossil fuels into the air. Everything's fine, all that shit, This is it's tempting with all of these fake newsy things to think, oh, well, it's so irritating these days how much we get bombarded with it. But it's always been a thing, right? It's not really new. It's just the same old shit in a new package over and over and over again. Isn't it really irritating? I'm very irritated about this, which is why I'm making this video. Well, I'm supposed to be apologizing, right? A bit, but mainly I'm just mad, right? I'm just mad. But anyway, so there was a particular point at one of these lessons about global warming, and they were really throwing all the stops at you should feel bad about man-made climate change. They got that stupid action-adventure film, which was like the world was flooded and it wasn't very good. They had the Al Gore, an inconvenient truth thing going. It was really you should feel bad about all these things at all times energy. And they at one point asked, is there anyone here that doesn't believe that man-made intervention? And I stood up. And I was the only one who stood up in that classroom. One wonders why I started a YouTube channel, right? But I was the only fucker who stood up. And basically, there was two things going on in my mind. And I don't stand by the man-made climate change isn't real part of it, because it is, right? But what I was getting mad at was the fact that they were telling me, because I was just this teenager, who had obviously no ability to change climate policy. I had no influence over the fossil fuel companies. I could do nothing. And I could definitely do nothing even more than I can do nothing now. And, you know, I was kind of thinking, well, why are you telling me? Why are you telling me about this? And I remember saying, well, I don't think that, you know, there is going to be any improvement on it without government action, because the governments are theoretically in charge, right? They can just say, well, we're going to stop fossil fuel stuff. This is a very coherent argument. Aren't you glad you watched this video? We can, you know, reduce the usage of cars, we could do all these things, we could actually ban things, but governments have generally not done that, right? We are where we are. It's 2025. We've heard a lot of noise about climate change. We've seen all these inspirational documentaries where, you know, oh well, if you don't feel really bad about it, the world will end. And the world has been getting worse around us, and we have just been gawking at this content going, oh, I feel so bad, I feel bad that the world's ending. But we haven't done anything, have we? We've just kind of, we've just gawked, and we've just stared, and we've just gone, and it's irritating. And even this is... And this is something I'm a bit sorry about. Even this is kind of indulging in that a bit, because I'm allowing you something to gawk at, and to react to, and to get sad about. Or you're probably not finding this very funny. You're probably just angry at me. You're angry at me because I'm telling you the truth. And the truth is, it probably isn't your fault. Nothing in the world that's happening right now is your fault, but everything's telling you all the fucking time that it is, and it makes me mad. And I guess if you could take one thing from this video, it's that you shouldn't feel so bad about yourself. But the reason I feel kind of bad is that we get to the development of generative AI in the present day. It's 2025, and now you can load up your favorite LLM, and you can put in words, and through a combination of extremely sophisticated algorithms that I'm not really qualified to tell you about, human labor done under quite questionable conditions, you could put in a prompt and it will come out with some text or an image. And when this first came out, and this was like early days ChatGPT, this was like, in my mind, I mean, obviously there were like versions before that, but I'm thinking about ChatGPT 3.5. And 3.5 was quite a lot more flawed than the current version that's available if you log into it today. It was much more prone to saying nonsensical things. And when AI first came out, I basically got very into trying to trick it into generating nonsense. I do actually have a result of that available on YouTube. I don't really care if you watch this, because I deliberately switched that channels because I wanted to make content with, you know, me in it. But basically, the premise of this video, I'm going to explain the joke because I don't really care anymore, is that basically, well, what if the AI was fed lines from a political sitcom, and we just find the result funny because it's taking the notion seriously? That's the whole joke. And I got really bloody into this kind of humor of it. I even generated this alt YouTube channel called Sir Humphrey GPT, so I could like respond with AI generated Sir Humphrey quotes. And I found it funny that when I put in ChatGPT to do that, it would just come up with as Sir Humphrey would say, no one goes into a room and says, as I would say, like it was pretty dumb. The whole thing was dumb. And you can see where this is kind of fitting together, I hope. In that, well, isn't it great that I'm feeling worried about the environment and I'm feeling worried about the use of AI? Because the AI uses an enormous amount of energy to, like, generate, like, your shitty Studio GB, if I can say that, Studio Ghibli, images. It will use up quite a large amount of energy. It used up quite a large of energy, so I could trick it into saying dumb shit, right? And yeah, it's not great, is it? It's not great for me to sort of feel like I have a environmental position against AI, because, well, isn't it bad for the environment that we're using generative AI for nonsense? Because I am the polluter. I'm the methane generator. I'm the cow in the field. And I am the cow in the field because I am the guy who's literally using AI for no other purpose than it's funny, right? It's lol funny, rufflecopter, whatever. And isn't that just kind of dumb? I feel dumb. Um, and there was a point where I was really feeling quite guilty about this. I was just like, well, what is the point of having this AI skeptical position if I'm going to be the cow in the field farting out AI generated nonsense? And I've reached the position of kind of ambivalence that I was when I was a teenager in International Week, hearing about how AI really bad. Because if they come up with like a technology which seems almost perfectly designed to use up as much energy as possible, I mean, why should I care about recycling? Why should I care about voting for environmental parties that won't get elected? Why should I care about any of this when in the end we're just going to default to the most energy maximum thing possible, right? Like what can be done? What do I do? What am I even doing here? What am I saying? So I'm I'm basically dumping my feelings onto you, viewer. Am I sorry about that? You know what the worst thing? I'm not really that sorry, because none of this is my creation. This video is like, feels like it's barely my creation. All I'm really doing is packaging a feeling that has been generated inside me, and I'm kind of dumping it onto you. And isn't that nice of me, right? Aren't I like a pro-social, wonderful YouTube creator? Like, favorite, and subscribe. I probably hate you. Bye.